Hey, hello everyone. This week, we're going to review the movie Interstellar. Interstellar is a science fiction movie co-written and directed by Christopher Nolan in 2014. In the lead roles, we have Matthew McConaughey, Annie Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Bill Irwin, Alan Burstyn, Matt Damon, and Michael Caine. The film is all about saving humanity, where a group of astronauts who travel through wormhole near Saturn in search of new home. The budget of the movie is 165 million USD dollars, and the box office is 677 million USD dollars. Produced by Emma Thomas, Christopher Nolan, and Linda Hoystel. Music is by Hans Zimmer, and the movie is produced by the production companies Legendary Pictures, SynCorp, and Linda Hoyce Productions. Distributed by Paramount Pictures in USA and Warner Brothers Pictures internationally, and the runtime of the movie is 169 minutes. Probably most of you would have watched this movie. This movie is not just a scientific or science fiction movie, but this movie also is beyond science fiction, trying to explain the real scientific facts such as black hole, wormhole, tesseract, gravity, quantum mechanics, which I will be trying to explain you in the later part of the video. Real-time theoretical physicist Kip Thorne is closely associated with this project, and Kip Thorne himself has been involved in major part of this movie, especially on the scientific piece of this movie is entirely been described to Christopher Nolan by Kip Thorne, and they had several meetings all together trying to ensure that the scientific piece of this movie is it's not an imaginary one but the actual physics thing. That's why this movie stands out from other scientific movies where we have the real science brought into this movie. So Kip Thorne is a Nobel Prize winner in 2017 for his LIGO detector and observatory of gravitational waves. So now let's come to the plot of the movie. So the movie is happening somewhere around 2067, where eventually the planet Earth is not habitable, and the only crop now we have is the corn, which is also about to end. The hero of the movie is Cooper, which is played by Matthew McConaughey, who is a former NASA pilot, but now he's a farmer. He has a 15-year-old son Donald and a 10-year-old daughter Murphy. One strange day, some strange dust particle appears in Murphy's bedroom floor, which she thinks is a ghost. But however, Cooper eventually identifies that these are some graphical coordinates. Cooper follows the coordinates and finally ends in a NASA base, which is headed by Professor Brand. So Professor Brand explains that before 48 years earlier, a wormhole appeared in Saturn, opening a path to a distant galaxy, and it is near a black hole called Gargantua. So Professor explains that they have sent 12 scientists through this black hole in search of habitable planet, and they have received signals from 3 astronauts, which is like Miller, Edmund, and Mann. So Professor says that he has 2 plans. One is solve the gravity equation and build a space shuttle to lift all the humans. Plan B is you have to take the Endurance spacecraft, which we're carrying around 5,000 frozen human embryos, and colonize a planet which is found habitable. So he has to solve the gravity equation and build a spacecraft to lift all the humans from the Earth. Secondly, the plan B is like the signals which they received from this 3 planet. They have to take 5,000 embryo of humans and then try to colonize the new Earth, or the new place where they are going. Cooper is being part of the mission. He is the pilot of the Endurance. So now the crew members are Cooper, Emilia is Brand's doctor, then you have Dr. Romley, Dr. Doyce, and then you have 2 robots, which is Stars and Case. So they are heading towards the first planet, which Professor Brand says they have received signal, which is planet Miller. So what happens is that so they headed to the Miller. So now we have Romley, who is in the spacecraft. He's trying to study the black hole because they are near to the black hole Gargantua, because they need the quantum data to solve the gravity equation as per the Professor Brand's initial plan A. So meanwhile, what is happening is Cooper, Doisy and Emilia has reached a Miller planet, and they later found that this planet is completely covered by water, and it is not fit for living. So when they were trying to return back, unfortunately Dr. Doisy would have been hit by the wave, and unfortunately he dies. So you have Emilia and Cooper returning to the spacecraft. When they returned to spacecraft, so Romley actually gets aged. That's primarily because of the time dilation, since he was near the black hole. Almost 23 years passed, whereas Cooper and Emilia were only there for like 2 to 3 hours. It's primarily because of the time dilation, since they were near to the black hole. So meanwhile, what happens is in the Earth is like Murph, who is the daughter of Cooper, is aged now. Now she is a scientist working in NASA along with Professor Brand, trying to solve the gravity equation. She finds that there is nothing called as Plan A, and the only option left is Plan B, and the professor has actually lied to everyone. So she transmits that data to the spacecraft Endurance, and Cooper and Emilia understands that there is nothing called as Plan A. The only option they have is to colonize the 5,000 embryos they have in the new place where they are going. So to solve the gravity equation, they need the quantum data in the black hole. But however, the quantum data is not possible because anyone who falls in the black hole is not going to come out because of the gravity. Cooper and Emilia has to move to the next planet, which is the man's planet, which they think that life is there. Then later they found out that this planet is completely covered with ice, and human survival is not possible, and Dr. Mann has actually sent wrong data to Professor Brand, stating that life is possible here because Dr. Mann has returned back to the Earth, so he has just faked the data, stating that life is possible here, so that astronauts from Earth will return back to Man. So what happens is that Dr. Mann tries to kill Cooper. He takes the spacecraft of Cooper and tries to dock at the Endurance, and unfortunately the docking was a failure and the spacecraft blast. And it is also one of the famous docking scene of the Interstellar. So now the final plan is to move to Edmund planet, but unfortunately the fuel is very less in the spacecraft. So Cooper and Tars decides Dr. Emilia has to move to Edmund planet. So they dispatch themselves and they fell into the black hole. So they fell in the event horizon of the black hole, which is nothing but a tesseract, as explained in the movie. So tesseract is a 5-dimensional world which is built by the bulk being or the future humans, which we'll try to explain later in the later part of my video. Who are these bulk beings? So in the tesseract, Cooper is able to access all the timelines. So he will be able to access the present, he will be able to access the past, he will be able to access the future. That's why you can see Cooper could see everything. So he can see his daughter, what she is doing present and what she is doing in the future, and he can also come back to the past. So it is a flat world. Basically, so now the issue is that he's not able to communicate with Murph since Tars falls into the black hole. Tars has now the quantum data, but the quantum data has to be transferred to Murph, right? So what happens is that with the help of Morse code, he is able to communicate the data with his daughter Murph. Then Murph identifies that it was his dad who was Ghost. So if you can see, if you can recollect, in the initial phase of the movie, the start of the movie, you could see that Murph thinks that there is someone in my room who's trying to distract or give me some signals, but it was actually his dad who was trying to give him signals to go to the NASA space station. Help of the Morse code, the quantum data is transferred to Murph by Cooper with the help of TARS. The TARS is also fallen into the black hole, and TARS collects the data of the black hole. The gravity data of the black hole, but he was not able to transfer it to Murph because they were not able to communicate. So with the help of Morse code, which basically a signal to his watch, which he has given to his daughter while coming to this mission, and later Murph understands that it was his dad who was that strange person or strange ghost which he thinks who was in the room. So then there will be a question like, why should a guy from the future gives no signal to the guy present? So we'll come back to that later, because we need to understand who are these bulk beings. We'll talk about that later. So with the help of the Morse code, now what happens is that Murph solves the gravity equation. She builds the spaceship and trying to take the humans to the new planet. When this all happens, the time flies, right? So it almost like 51 years is over, but Cooper is still young, whereas his daughter Murph was like 120 plus years old. So when Cooper wakes up, he himself is near Saturn, and he is near to a station called as Cooper Station, which her daughter named after him. And that's the final scene, if you can see in the movie, where he is very young, his daughter is very aged. That's primarily because of the time dilation, since he was near to the black hole Gargantua. Then Murph asks Cooper to go to Edmund planet in search of Emilia. And Emilia, if you can see the final scene of the movie, she has actually gone to the planet where the life is possible, and Cooper takes a spacecraft and then reaches to, he is on the way to in search of Emilia. So that's how the movie ends, without any conclusion. So Christopher Nolan purposefully ends the movie so that it can be concluded as per the wishes of the viewers. So most of his movies are like that. So now let's come to the science part of this movie. Quite a lot of science things has been explained in this movie, especially gravity. Then you have space-time, then you have wormhole, then you have black hole, then you have even horizon, then you have tesseract, and then you have bulk being. So these are some of the scientific terms which has been explained in this movie, which makes the movie more very strong in scientific terms. So now let's see one by one. So now let's come to the science part of the movie, which is like gravity. So gravity is a natural phenomena by which things with mass and energy and even light are brought towards each other. So it's a natural phenomena, right? Gravity. So it's only because of gravity we are standing. That could be a live example. Now that's next one is the wormhole. So wormhole, as explained in this movie, is like it's a shortcut to another place. So initially when Christopher Nolan and Hathaway were discussing on this movie, Christopher Nolan suggested that it is like if you want to go to one place to another, we can travel with the speed of light. So Hathaway was not happy on this suggestion, because practically it is not possible and we do not have technology. But Christopher Nolan said that in future we might have technology to travel with the speed of light. So then he came up with a concept called as a wormhole. So wormhole is nothing but a shortcut. So where he explains that the entire universe can be a fabric of sheet. So if you fold, right? So if you fold, you can. So if a person ends in one loop, he can come to the other loop by folding it. So that's how the wormhole concepts comes in. Coming to the next one, which is a very strong one, which is the black hole. So recently you can see there is a picture released by NASA as how the black hole looks. So if you even if in the movie you can see it almost looked similar, but not the movie, because the movie was shot like 4 years before. But you can see that there is some similarity with the picture released by NASA. So black hole, the gravity is very strong. So whatever goes into the black hole doesn't come out. So even the light, cannot come out of black hole. So then the question comes, how did Cooper came out? So that again Hipthron has an answer for that. Since Cooper fell in the event horizon, which is like the tesseract of the black hole, so eventually there is a repelling force from the black hole. So whichever force is pulling us into the black hole also has a repulsive force which is pulling outside as well. So he brings in this tesseract concept, and that's how you can see when Cooper is awake, he is around Saturn, and then he comes back again to Cooper station. Then now coming to the bulk beings or the future humans. So the future humans are like nothing but they have access to all the timelines. So when Cooper fell into tesseract, he could access all the timelines, which is like the present, past, and the future. And the future humans are the one who was actually asked Cooper to be part of this mission. And now the question comes, so why did the future humans did this? The future humans did it because they themselves want to save them. So then the question comes like, why didn't help Cooper? Because they were not able to communicate the data with the Cooper. So when Cooper fell into tesseract, they build a 5-dimensional world into a 3-dimensional world where Cooper could understand, then transmit the quantum data to his daughter, and then solve the gravity equation and lift all the humans from the earth. So these are the bulk beings. Bulk beings are nothing but the future humans. The future humans, in order to save themselves, they have sent signal to Cooper, and with the help of Cooper, they themselves saved. So that's how the movie is. It's a quite a complicated movie with very interesting concept. So initially, Irfan Khan was supposed to play the role of Professor Brand. Unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, he was not able to play that role. So this movie also has won Oscars for the best visual effects. As you know, Christopher Nolan's movie, he doesn't use as much CG works or VFX. So all the shots which you see in this movie are primarily the sets. So he prepares the set. Eventually all this, even the Endurance spacecraft is a set. The Robert Tars and case are also set. So he has built the model, and then he has shoot that. So he wants to know give that very lively to the audience. So the use of VFX is very less in this movie, but if you would have watched the movie, you would have really enjoyed all the space scenes, which actually looks like the space scenes when you are comparing it with the other science fiction movies. It's a very unique movie, and Christopher Nolan and Kip Thorne had this understanding that nothing should not be beyond the physical science or physics. So everything should be within the limits of, we should not break the laws of physics. So So that's how the movie is built upon. So I think this is one of the very important movie, and everyone should watch this movie. So probably you can connect more with the movie, because maybe it requires time to understand the movie. The first time you watch, definitely you can understand the movie. Maybe third or fourth time is when you can actually understand the movie, because it has a lot of concepts. It has a lot of because the movie is itself is not, told in the non-linear. It's not a linear movie, right? So movie itself is told in a non-linear way, so it is quite difficult to understand. And the interesting part is that Christopher Nolan also has an emphasized love. So he considers love has the fifth dimension, where space and time, as per his tone, but it is love which is same across all the dimensions, is what Christopher Nolan on other aspects brings out from this movie. I hope you have enjoyed this review. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments. Please do support and subscribe to my channel.